Hi guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another video. Today I'm going to take you through how I created this compact cardstock mini album. It is pretty simple design and it was pretty fun to make. This is part of a paper crafting hop, so I will link the other hoppers below. This particular hop is for all sorts of paper crafters. So you will see other mini albums, maybe mixed media, full page layouts, cards, whatever you do with paper. So don't forget to check those out. Let them know that I sent you. And don't forget that liking my videos and commenting helps my videos get to other crafters and helps my channel grow. Here you can see that I created this little album using my favorite Christmas line of all time, A Very Merry Christmas by Stephen Duncan. I hope that you are not tired of it. It's still my favorite. But it is a Cartabella project, and I will link it below if it's still on the market. This construction really is one piece of cardstock for this part of the base, and then another section I folded over to make the pocket. Of course, I will show you that in detail in just a moment. I used on some of it some of the stickers, and then I used a cut apart here, and I used a couple of the cut aparts and just kind of put them into the pocket. I didn't back them. I didn't make tags out of them. I really like both sides of these ones, so I figured that they would be fine in here just like this. And then if the recipient wants to use them for something else or make tags out of them, then they could totally do that. This pocket is really not very difficult, so I'm not sure why I'm having such a hard time putting these back in. This also happens to have a magnetic closure. I'm not sure that you can see or hear it from there, but just stay tuned and I will take you through how it was created. So to get started on our compact cardstock mini album, we are first going to make the cover, front cover, back cover, and the pocket. So the first thing that we need is one sheet of cardstock that is 5 3/4 by 11. So I basically just took an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock and cut it at 5 3/4 that way. So set that aside. And then I have another one that is 5 3/4, but this one we are going to cut at 9 inches. So let's see here, 9 inches. Let's see. So these are the two sheets that are going to make up our front cover, back cover, and our side flap pocket. First thing we're going to do is do some scoring. I guess it's the next thing we're going to do. We're going to do some scoring. So this piece that is 5 3/4 by 11, we're going to put in our scoreboard with the 11-inch side at the top. I'm going to go ahead and score this at 4.5. Five. Oops. 9.5. And 10. I didn't grab my other scoring tool. Usually with this scoreboard I use one of those dollar store stylus tools, but I didn't grab it. So now we have what is essentially our front cover and our back cover. So we're just gonna go ahead and burnish everything that we just scored. So we have our front cover, and this is the back. This flap is going to hold our pocket. So let's go ahead and make the pocket. That's where this 5 3/4 by 9 piece of cardstock comes in handy. We are going to score it at 4.5. So basically we're scoring this in half. Now that we have our pocket folded, we are going to attach it to this little piece of our cover, something like that. We want to go ahead and angle, do an angle cut here just to make an open pocket. So what you'll need to do is you will need to measure down 2.5 inches from the top. I'm going to grab my pen. I'm just going to use my I'm going to put a tiny mark right above the 2.5 inch because I want to cut it off. I want to cut the mark off. So right there. So again, I'm going to make sure that I have my paper folded the correct way, because I'm going to attach it this way. So we want the angle to be down this way. And I'm just going to score from the corner, as close to the middle of that corner as I can, down to just below this mark that I just made with my pen. So this kind of takes me a second. You do have to, as you even it up, you want to make sure that it's in the middle, the top, that point is kind of pointing down the middle of the scoreboard. What is that, the channel? What is this thing called? The scoreboard, score part? It's not even a scoreboard. So if you have one of these paper trimmers that has the metal wire in the middle, that comes in pretty handy sometimes. I really like it. You do need good lighting to be able to see it, but you should probably craft with decent lighting anyway. And it just kind of shows you where that cut is going to be. So I cut down that way. There, I cut off the little mark. And now we have our pocket. I'm going to go ahead and glue the pocket in. First thing I want to do is glue this little hinge. So my 1-inch piece onto the back here. Glue this paper onto the back of this 1-inch hinge piece. It is going to stick out here. We'll cut that later with scissors. But we want to make sure that we glue this entire part down. It's going to be inside the pocket, so we don't want anything to get stuck in it or, you know, get impeded by the loose paper. So now I'm just going to line it up the best I can. You could probably use your scoreboard and lean it against there. I'm just going to do it like this. And shake it out over here. Looks pretty even. So now I put glue on this entire part, so that is essentially one piece now. I am going to go ahead and cut this little extra bit here off with the scissor. I'm just going to lean the scissor right against that paper, cut it, and now I'm going to go ahead and make the other part of the pocket, or close it to create the pocket. But on this one, instead of gluing the entire piece, I'm just going to put glue right next to that score line and right across the bottom. Just a thin bead of glue, because we want a decent size pocket. All right, so we have our pocket, and now we have our little book, front cover and side. That's the back. So I am going to go ahead and make a couple marks now, because I want to put magnets. If you're going to put, if you're going to punch holes for ribbon or anything like that, now is where you might want to take a moment and make some little marks. You should probably use a pencil, but I'll try to make marks inside that'll be covered up. I want to remember that I want to have a magnet here, and I want to have a magnet here to magnet our book together. So these little X's will just remind me to put the magnets there as we are laying up our layering up our paper on top. We're going to go ahead and make the flip pages. We are going to take 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and we are going to cut each one into 3 pieces that are 6 inches by 4 1/4 inches. In order to do that, we are going to make our first cut at 6 inches. And if you follow along, you'll also be able to get 3 pieces out of 1 piece of cardstock. This 6-inch piece, we're going to go ahead and cut at 4 1/4. That gives us 2 pieces that are 4 1/4 by 6. This one, we are going to go ahead and cut at 6 inches and 4 1/4, giving us 3 pieces out of 1 sheet of cardstock. That's a little confusing. You can go ahead and roll back a minute and watch that part again. I also have one that's done already, so I have 6 pieces that are 4 1/4 by 6. I'm going to go ahead and score them. I want each one to have a 1/2 inch gusset or a 1/2 inch flap at the top. So I'm just going to score 1/2 inch. You could do it over here. I'm just doing it over here because it's easier. So these 6 pages we are going to go ahead and glue together by the tab. They're just going to stack on top of one another. But take your time because you want them to be pretty even. I generally will just line up the sides, pull up that tab, kind of use the desk or your work surface to even them up across the bottom, and then move on to the next one. Glue the wrong part. So I went ahead and cut 6 pieces of cardstock that are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And each of these is going to be a mat for part of our base. I'm going to go ahead and start by gluing down the ones that are already rectangular. And the reason that I put these marks on is because I totally would have forgotten if they weren't here. But I'm going to go ahead and put some magnets down now. If you don't have magnets, you can wait until the end and use Velcro. You can do a belly band or do a, let's see, it's going to go like this, or do a ribbon closure. Now, to cover our pocket, we are going to just use the same angle cut that we did when we cut the actual pocket. I'm going to go ahead and measure. Using my paper trimmer, I'm going to measure down. It was 2 1/2 inches here. So I'm going to measure down 2 1/2 inches again and make a mark right above where I want to cut. That way I can cut off my mark. I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to line it up so that my point is in the channel and that my mark is just above the channel so I can cut it off. And I'm going to slice. Okay. And we're going to glue in our stack of pages. You can see that I went ahead and already glued the mat down on this sheet. So I'm just going to make a second mat to fix my issue. I mean, it's not really a mistake. You can do whatever you want. Okay. So now I have a piece that's going to fit right over this other one. What I'm going to do is I am essentially going to glue this tab underneath this piece of cardstock, which I should have done originally. So I'm just going to glue this piece of white to the back of the piece of gray. And then I'll glue the whole thing down to the book. Okay, now I have 6 pieces of designer series paper to cover our front and back covers and our pocket. I am using, again, the A Very Merry Christmas by Stephen Duncan. I hope you are not tired of it because it is still my favorite Christmas line. So I'm just going to go ahead and decide what I want where, and these should fit. I really like this. Now I have 12 of the gray cardstock, so my matting cardstock, that are cut to 4 by 5 1/4. So those will mount onto each one of these pages, front and back. And then I also have the designer cardstock that is cut to 3 3/4 by 5. So those will mat on top of our plain cardstock mats. I'm going to go ahead and just glue one of these to one of these, and then I'll decide the order that they're going to go in, just to make it a little easier. We'll see how that goes. And just for the record, I did kind of sort through these pages and made sure that I have the side that I want facing up. For pieces like that, it's kind of obvious, but otherwise you get into the situation where you have both sides that you like. And so I just put the sides that I want facing up, so that I just grab it, put glue on the back side, and we'll glue it down to one of these sheets. Now this is where you can decide to just put the gray mats, or put the gray mats and maybe do designer paper on every other page. Really depends on the look that you're going for and what you anticipate your the recipient is going to be using it for. If you know that you're gonna use photos, do photos and use and not do much journaling, then I think that you don't need to leave a bunch of blank space, because you may know or not know if the person receiving your gift is going to be journaling or not. It wasn't quite where I wanted it. So now I'm going to open the door so that I can hear the hockey game playing in the other room, and just finish matting our little book. Once I'm done with that, I'll grab a few stickers and some cut-aparts, and we'll be done. So there's our completed book. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget that it's part of a small hop. You can find the links to the other participants below. This is a paper crafting hop, so you will find mini albums, full page, scrapbook layouts, cards, all sorts of things. Thanks again for watching. For my double accordion mini album tutorial, click here.